Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee and welcome to this video. I hope this finds you well and thank you for dropping by. This is the card I have to share with you today. I love it. It's beautiful and, well, I think it's beautiful. It's very bright and summery and floral, all those things that I love. So let's make another one and let me show you how I did it. The background here is actually stenciled. It's not pattern paper. And that's what we're going to do first. So I have my stencil here and I've attached my piece of basic white to my stencil just using some post-it note tape, and the stencils come from the Loveliest Layers collection. Now the one that I've just done, I'll show you the colours I used. I used Pumpkin Pie, Poppy Parade, Daffodil Delight and So Saffron. So those were that was my colour palette. Let me get them in a sort of order. That was my colour palette before. This time I'm going to use Polished Pink, Calypso Coral, Floaty Flamingo and Petal Pink, and we'll see what we come up with. So I'm going to start off with my lightest colour, which is Flirty Flamingo, and we're just going to use our blending brushes to put some colour on our stencil, and I'm going to just start off at the bottom here with some colour. And just sorry if I'm squeaking. I'm just going to put some colour on the bottom initially, just a little bit like that. So that was Flirty Flamingo. So now I'm going to go in with a little deeper colour, Calypso Coral. I'm just going to clean off my brush if I need to on my grid paper, and I'm just going to take some of this and go in. I'm just going to go up a few more lines, but I'm also going to go over a little bit what we did so it blends in, so it doesn't look like there's a harsh differentiation. In the colours. So that's what we've got there. Again, I'm just going to rub off any excess on my craft mat. And these are all pinks, so I just use one brush for all the pinks and it works fine. Okay. We're going to use some Petal Pink now at the very end, just a little bit, just to give it something. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Rub that off. Okay, so that's our first layer done. So what I'm going to do now is very gently peel that away, and you can see what we've got so far. It looks cute. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put our stencil back, but I'm going to offset our stencil. So we have a stencil like that, so I'm going to offset it, so make sure we just quickly do it like that. And then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to go in with our deepest colour, which is a Petal Pink. And I'm using the deepest one this time first, just because that was what was on my brush. Okay, and then I'm going to go back up the spectrum again. So Calypso Coral, just wipe it off, and then again with the Calypso Coral, and again just blending it in a bit to what we had before. so we get this sort of a seamless blend. In what we're doing. That'll do. So that was Calypso Coral. Then we're going to end up again with some Flirty Flamingo. And you can see my hands getting nice and inky. So that's fine. It's all part of the fun. I'm just going to put down the colour. And just keep going, blending it through what we did before, as well as into the new area. Okay, so that's done. Alright, just be careful when you take this off that you don't smudge something. Ask me how I know. Okay, and there we have our background. Looks cool. So I'm just going to take off my Post-it note tape gently from the back, and you can reuse this tape, it's not finished. I use mine until all the stickiness is totally gone, and that's what we've got so far for our background. So now I'm just going to go in with my very lightest colour, which was Petal Pink. I'm just getting off as much ink getting all this ink off as much as possible. And then I'm just going to go in with a little bit here of Petal Pink, just very gently, and this is just going to take away some of this harsh white in the background and just help to bring the whole piece together. But as you can see, I'm not using a lot, I'm just going in very gently with some Petal Pink. And that is our background done. So there you go. One homemade background. I like it. Okay, so give this a little clean. Now, while I've got my inks out, I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. I'm going to stamp our sentiment that says thanks. So I've got here a piece of basic white scrap. I'm going to stamp in some Petal Pink, and I'm using the stamp set here that says Biggest Wish, and I'm going to use thanks. I'm going to stamp that. Just gently down and up. So there we've got our thanks. So set that aside. And now we can trim our stencil piece. So I got the trimmer out, and I'm going to trim this down slightly so it measures 9.5 centimeters by 13.85 centimeters. But all these measurements will be on my blog post on my website, and you can find the link to that in the description box below. If you look down below, you'll also find the link to all my social media links. You'll find them all there, including the link to my Facebook group, where I host a monthly online card club. We also have fortnightly challenges where we can share our creations and inspire each other. So I would urge you to go and have a look at that. So there we've cut that down. Now I should have kept my trimmer out, because we're going to cut our sentiment down as well. And let's cut this down. I'm going to cut it quite close, so I don't want a lot of white area around it. So I'm just doing this by eye. I've done this many a time. You get better at it, obviously, like anything, the more times you do it. You can measure if you want, but I just find it a bit of a faff to have to measure, so I do what I feel most comfortable with, which is exactly what you should do. I'm going to mount this on a piece of cardstock. Now I've only got here Melon Mambo, but I actually think the polished pink looks fine on top of my Melon Mambo. Use some seal just to do that. Lovely. And then I'm going to use my scissors to cut this out. Now, as I said before, if you're wanting to do something like this, use the scissors with a longer blade. It makes cutting out something like this so much easier than doing with a shorter one. You're more likely to go skew with a shorter one, or that's how I find it anyway. So let's start to arrange our flowers. Now I've die cut all of these flowers using this die, which is the blossoming happiness dies, and I just dropped everything on the floor. So anyway, I die cut them out the Years of Happiness paper, which is this one here, and as you can see, you have this pretty side, and then this side you've got all of these florals, and these all die cut out using the dies. And you can see I've done quite a bit of die cutting, but I love it because from one sheet of paper like this you can have so many different embellishments and die cuts. I mean, it's so great, you know, so useful. So let's have a look and see how we want to arrange things. Now, even die cut out the edges like this. Don't waste that, because we could actually use that as a starter point for our card. So everything can be used. Don't waste anything. So let's have that maybe up there like I suggested, and then something like that. What do you think? Let's go with that and try and remember it. Okay, so let's put this piece up here, and I'm just going to put a bit of Tombow on. Don't really want to go to the edge, so we can still tuck stuff if we need to. Putting it on me as well, because that's what always happens, however hard I try. The good thing about Tombow is you've got a bit of wriggle room like here. If you make a mess, you can wiggle it back into position. Okay, a little bit of Tombow in the centre here. You can always add more glue later on if you so wish. Yeah, a little bit of glue there. Okay, I think this one we're going to pop up. So let's get some dimensionals. Yeah. So I've got glue on my fingers. Everything wants to stick to me instead of what I wanted to stick to. Do you find that sometimes? And now we take the backings off. Not my favourite job, but one that has to be done. Okay, and I can never know if I've got the backings off unless I can feel the back and see that it's all sticky. It's my only way of knowing. So let's put our sentiment in here and see. And this is going to cover up our sentiment. So let's change the position of this a bit so that we can just etch it in there. Bit of glue on the back. Lift everything up. This is why it's nice if you've not tucked tucked everything too much. I mean, not stuck everything down too much so you can tuck. I think there, just to come out underneath the sentiment. Okay, and let's have another play with these leaves. So that's what we've got so far. Okay, now just gonna, as I said, cut off anything that's overhanging. Another good useful long bladed scissors. They really are useful to have something that's longer in size, I find. Short ones have their use as well. People always say, why do you need more than one pair of scissors? Well, you do. Different scissors have different jobs, just like everything else in life. I have a pair that I keep just for cutting ribbon. I have a pair for fussy cutting. I have a pair in my craft room as well that I use for cutting like adhesive sheet and things like that. And then I have my general pair, so which is a long bladed pair, so you do need them. Whatever anyone might say to you. Okay, that's all we've got so far. So finishing touches. I used before these opal rounds. I think I'm going to actually use them again. And let's see, I think I'm going to use these big pink ones here, as they match really nicely. And I'm just going to use a little one in, whoopsie daisy, in there. So there we have my two cards. You've got the yellow and orange, or the pinkies. Tell me which one you prefer. I hope you liked this project. If you did, I'd be grateful if you could give it a thumbs up so YouTube know. And please don't forget to subscribe to future videos. As I said, you'll find all my links down below, including the supplies, and it's all listed there for your information. So do check it out. So thank you again, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.